Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Dan Whitfield. I'm going to go ahead and start just a few minutes early because we do have a lot to talk about. I'm sorry I've been kind of MIA for the last couple weeks. I did get my second COVID shot and it just tore me up. It was a pretty rough week for me. I don't know if it was from the vaccine itself or because there were 100 people in the room where I got the vaccine. And since I haven't been around people, I'm sure my immune system isn't what it used to be. But I'm through the worst of it, and we are ready to go. May 1st will be my basically my all clear of full immunity, at least for 90 days or so until the next vaccine or strain comes out or whatever. But I'm through the worst of it. So let's go ahead and get this weekly legislative recap started because there's been a lot going on in the state of Arkansas these last couple weeks. I know my hair is getting really long. Fortunately, I'm excited to be able to go get a haircut finally next week. So this will be the last time you see me with long hair. But let's just kind of hop right into it. Let me go ahead and pull up our legislative webpage here. All right. So, let me go ahead and just extend this out a little bit and see if this helps. Maybe make that smaller and there we go. That's a little bit better. All right. So I've got a lot to talk about with voter suppression in Arkansas. And then I also have things to talk about that have been being passed in our state that have nothing to do with voter suppression. But there are also really terrible things going on, unfortunately. So what am I going to do first? I guess let's just go ahead and jump into everything else before voter suppression, and then we'll get into the voter suppression stuff because our state legislators have passed 16 different bills to suppress your vote and your ballot. So let's start. We'll go ahead with, I guess, a really controversial one right now. It's going to be Senate Bill 289. Now, what's interesting about this is this was actually delivered to the governor, and the governor has vetoed this bill. Oh, wait, that can't be the right one. That's 289. Okay, so this was actually signed into law. So this creates the Medical Ethics and Diversity Act. All right. What's interesting about this is the right of conscience is a fundamental and unalienable right. So basically, what this is doing is this is giving doctors the right to deny medical service based on their own ideological beliefs. So, if depending on what religion you are, your sexual orientation, your sexual identity, whether or not you like dogs or cats or have a service animal, anything like that, a doctor in the state of Arkansas can now legally deny you life-saving health care and services based on their ethical beliefs. So this is a really terrible bill. It was, let's see, sponsored by Hammer, Beckham, Bledsoe, Fliplo, let's see, Trent Garner, Hester, Rappert, all these different people. And it was actually signed into law by Governor Asa Hutchinson. It is now known as Act 462. So there could be some pushback on this. We'll have to wait and see exactly how doctors decide that they want to take advantage of this bill or if things will kind of stay the way that they are now. All right, let's move past this one. We've got Senate Bill 476. So this is to amend the law concerning eviction proceedings and to allow courts to seal certain court records and to declare an emergency. So I believe what this would have done was this would have allowed it to, let me pull up my notes here real quick before we kind of just get into it. Senate Bill 476. Okay, so this would have allowed evicted tenants to seal their eviction records if they can prove that their non-payment of rent was due to COVID-19. So if someone had lost their job because of COVID-19, they were unable to pay their rent and they were evicted because of it, this bill would have allowed them to seal that eviction as long as they can prove that the rent that they did not pay was due to losing their job because of COVID-19. So this would have been a really good let's see, received from the Senate. This would have been a really good law to help protect tenant rights. All right, next we're going to go to Senate Bill 609, and I am going to go through these fairly quickly because I do have a lot to go through and I don't want to bore y'all too much. All right, so Senate Bill 609 is to create um, the Transparency in Foreign Investment Act and to declare an emergency. So what this is going to do is this is going to prohibit any public university or college from hosting any entity with an affiliation to China. And it also requires disclosure of any foreign gift or contract valued at more than $10,000. So that's really a broad term because what does it mean to have any kind of affiliation with China? That means you could be, have Chinese. You could be helping Chinese foreign exchange students get a visa and come into the U.S. to learn and things like that. So this is just another anti-Chinese bill that was put into place. Of course, co-sponsored by rapper Trent Garner, Stubblefield, all these different people. So we'll have to kind of wait and see what happens with this one. We'll see if it gets passed or not in the House. But man, we've got to stop penalizing schools and children for wanting to learn. It's just amazing to me. All right, let's go ahead and move past this one here. Like I said, I've got so much to talk about. Let's see, that was Senate Bill 609. Now we're going to do Senate Bill 627. All right, so Senate Bill 627 to prohibit the propagation of divisive concepts and to review state entity training materials. Now, this is a really broad definition on divisive concepts. So this could go anywhere from sexual education to different economics, depending on if they're teaching like Keynesian or Marxist economics. This could have to do with so many different things with history, such as the 1619 Project. This could have to do with teaching about race, with just so many different things. It's amazing how broad of a term divisive concepts can be. So let's go ahead and move on past this. This is just going to be an anti-First Amendment, anti-freedom of speech bill that they're trying to put through right now. So we've got House Bill 1547. So to prohibit the state from mandating a vaccine or immunization for coronavirus, to govern requirements for a vaccine or immunization for coronavirus, and to declare an emergency. So this is going to prevent the state from having mandatory vaccine requirements. As we've seen, the coronavirus is coming back more deadly than ever. We can see in the Philippines and India and many different countries that people are dying. So many people are dying. I was watching a live stream from a news group that went to India, and just in the few hours that they had been in India reporting, 6 people had died waiting in line just to be treated. They are having over 320,000 new cases per day right now. So I know there's other new strains that are more targeting children that children are starting to die from. We don't know what's going to happen with COVID-19, with the coronavirus in the upcoming future. And I think it's very irresponsible to prohibit a state from mandating a vaccine because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. So let's go ahead and move past this one. That's 1547. We're going to do House Bill 1611. All right. So House Bill 1611. Can I talk about Senate Bill 76? Let's see here. We've got 674. I will talk about Senate Bill 674. Just give me a little bit to run through these, and I'll talk about that before we get to the voter suppression. Oops. Let's see here. That was 1547. Now we need 1611. House Bill 1611. All right. To allow public schools and open enrollment public charter schools to use funding to provide feminine hygiene products at no charge in each public school and open enrollment public charter school. So it is exactly what it says. This is a really good bill. This is going to allow young women to access the feminine hygienic materials that they need free of cost to them, which is really good. I think every single school should have free hygiene care for women. We need to make sure that even colleges are starting to do the same. So this is a good bill that passed. Let's go to Senate Bill. Let's see here. That one was 289. We have one. Let me open up a new page here, and we'll just search ASA to veto bill. So here we go right here. This is the one that I really wanted to talk about. This is a very important bill that's going on right now. So this is the Arkansas Sovereignty Act of 2021. Now, Asa Hutchinson has vetoed a couple bills recently, but the problem is even when he vetoes a bill, the Republicans have such a super majority that they're able to still override his vetoes and get their really ideological bills put into law, despite what our governor believes. Now, let me go ahead and read real quick just a couple quotes from him. The partisanship between state and federal law enforcement officers is essential for the safety of Arkansas citizens. This bill would break that partnership and put the safety of Arkansans at risk. Okay, so Asa Hutchinson realizes how partisan this bill is. What this bill would actually do is this would actually exempt Arkansas from enforcing any federal gun regulation mandate, and it would require Arkansas police not to enforce any federal firearms legislation as well. So let's see. I mean, this is just it gets to be really dangerous when we start having the state create laws that are specifically put into place to prevent federal overreach. We shouldn't have federal overreach in the first place, but that's not what our state legislators' jobs are. Our state legislators should be focusing on problems for Arkansans, how to make Arkansans' lives better, how to raise our wages, how to lower taxes for the working class, how to focus on things that are going to make Arkansas better, not on how to focus on pieces of legislation that are going to get challenged in the Supreme Court and waste our tax dollars with litigation. That's just ridiculous. So Asa Hutchinson did veto this bill, but it will most likely pass and be overridden anyways. All right, let me pull up Senate Bill 674 real quick. Take a look at this. To create and unify Arkansas Commission to establish an official observance, the National Day of Racial Healing in the state, and to encourage the creation of a community remembrance committee in each county. Okay, so this is from Joyce Elliott, and we got flowers on here as well. Let me try to find just a couple brief things. The original National Day of Racial Healing Observance was developed by W.K. Kellogg Foundation in Battle Creek, Michigan in 2016. In 2020, Governor William Asa Hutchinson II issued the nation's first ever gubernatorial proclamation for the National Day of Racial Healing, and he repeated this his action in 2021 and in 2021. The Arkansas Peace and Justice Memorial Movement, in association with the Arkansas Municipal League of the University of Central Arkansas Center for Community and Economic Development, successfully encouraged over 100 executives of political subdivision presidents and chancellors of institutions of higher education and school superintendents throughout the state to issue their own proclamations. Okay, so I mean, this is wonderful. We do need to make sure that we are recognizing that there are racial tensions in our society, that we have racial tensions in our law enforcement, our justice system, and basically our education, our healthcare, and everything. So I think this is really cool because it would really help bring the awareness that we need to racial diversity when so many people believe that racial diversity, that there is no such thing as racism, basically. And it's just crazy coming from Arkansas, where in my beautiful city of Bella Vista, a mere 10 years ago, there were signs on in the city that said, "Don't let the sun set on your back." So of course, racism is a very, very important and hot topic right now. But what we need to do is we need to focus on the causes of racism, focus on the foundational problems and address those foundational problems. That way we can prevent the reoccurrence from different issues happening around our state and around our country, such as what we just saw with George Floyd, which we got a sliver of justice for. And now we're seeing things with Derek Chauvin or not Derek Chauvin, Dante Wright, and all these other killings that are still happening. But these are all problems that we need to address, and legislation like this is going to start helping to bring awareness in communities to what is going on. Oh, go away. Get off my lemonade. All right. So wonderful bill. Good deal. Thank you for bringing that one to my attention. All right. So I'm through some of the bad bills and a good bill. We have a lot of voter suppression bills that are being going through our state that we really need to talk about. So I'm going to go through them very briefly with y'all. Make sure you do go to here. Let me go ahead and add a text window on here for y'all. Text, and do I have one already for the Arkansas? No, I don't. Okay. Let me go ahead and add this link on here for y'all. So you guys can, on your own time as well, go through and check out legislation for yourselves, because it's really good to be educated on what is happening in our state. Let me go ahead. I don't know, center it there for now. All right. So it is arkleg.state.ar.us. I guess I could probably even go through and, oh, well, that's probably good enough. It looks like I can see it on y'all's screens. What if I move it? Oh, well, it's going to go right there. I know the HAPS notification is covering it, unfortunately. If I bring it down here, and I'm sorry, I'm wasting y'all's times right now. Let me go ahead and change the color real quick, and I'll make it black, make it bold, and do all those good things, and try to make it easier for y'all to see. Color, select color. Let's go ahead and make it black. All right. There we go. Now, hopefully y'all can see it a little bit better. So we're going to start with SB 12 on here, SB 12. And we're just going to go down the list. Oh my gosh. So to amend election law to create modified election procedures during an emergency declared under the state of Arkansas, Emergency Services Act of 1973, and to declare an emergency. Let me go ahead and pull up some quick notes here. So this one just says power grab. Let's go ahead and open it up and take a look. All right. So election procedure modification during an emergency declared under Arkansas Emergency Services Act. If emergency is declared by executive order, proclamation of the governor under the Arkansas Emergency Services Act. 15-day requirement providing, 15-day requirement. An eligible elector is entitled to request an absentee ballot from his or her county residence. The eligible qualified elector concludes his or her attendance to the polls may be at risk. Okay. Going through. Qualified electors have adequate process polling sites and alternative methods casting a ballot in federal and state elections during emergency declaration under the Arkansas Emergency Services Act. The process used by election officials to begin the processing and canvassing of absentee ballots is impacted by an emergency declaration, and that this act is immediately necessary to ensure the right of all qualified electors to have adequate access to polling sites. The date is approved by the governor. Okay, so I'm not really sure. This just says power grab from local officials. Man, I'm not really sure exactly what the problem with this one is, but it's going to be some underlying thing in here by Sullivan and Gonzalez. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one real quick, because I have so many to go through. SB 485. Now, this one's going to cut early voting. Okay, so we can see right here the amendment that they put into this bill is they're actually going to be closing polls not at 5 p.m. but at 4 p.m. on the Saturday, not the Monday. So they're taking away, Sunday, Monday, 2 days of early voting away. And now what's interesting about this is they are able to look at data and see that these are the 2 days where the most people early vote. So they remove the 2 busiest early voting days. This is just voter suppression tactics is all that is. All right. We've got SB 486. So this one right here, to amend the law concerning electioneering and to amend the law concerning penalties for misdemeanors related to voting. And you can see right here, a person shall not enter or remain in an area within 100 feet of the primary exterior entrance of the building where voting is taking place, except for a person entering or leaving a building where voting is taking place for lawful purpose. And this is a very similar law to what was just passed in Georgia. But basically, this is going to make it so that if you wanted to, say, give water or food to people who've been standing in line for hours voting, you can no longer go into these areas within 100 feet of the entrance and bring people food or water. All right. And then we have SB 487. So, concerning the establishment and alteration of precinct boundaries, polling sites, and vote centers, and to amend Arkansas election law. And this one was signed into law. All right. It looks like they're removing county clerks and having county board of elections instead. Just changing verbiage in here. So yeah, basically this is just stripping local power. Basically, county clerks are no longer going to have that power. That it'll be by a county board of election commissioners. Now, who assigns the county board of election commissioners? Basically, will have control now over different polling areas. All right, let's go ahead and do SB 498. To amend Arkansas law concerning the enforcement of election laws. So let's hop into here. So let's see. They removed appropriate county clerk and appropriate prosecuting attorney and changed it to the State Board of Election Commissions. So again, they're removing electoral powers from county clerks and giving electoral powers to a State Board of Election Commissioners. Again, who decides who election commissioners are? Those people will be the ones in charge of our elections. Got SB 556. To create the Arkansas Election Integrity Act of 2021, to amend a law concerning the State Board of Election Commissioners, and to create a process for the State Board of Election Commissioners to conduct an election. All right, so we have SB 556. So this is going to be basically the state takeover where they are giving the elections to their election boards and the election commissioners, taking it away from county clerks. Now, this one's fairly long. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but that is basically the gist of it. All right, so that was SB 556. We got SB 557. To amend election law, to amend the duties of members of a county board of election commissioners, and to clarify the duties of county employees designated as election officials. All right. This one's not that long. Let's go ahead and just read this one real quick. To supervise all election officials, the supervision of election officials may be delegated by an affirmative vote of a quorum of all members of the county board of election commissioners. Who are the election commissioners? County employees detailed as election official. A county employee detailed as an election official shall comply with directives of the County Board of Election Commissioners in matters related to an election. A County Board of Election Commissioners may assign to other election officials the supervision of election officials by an affirmative vote of quorum of all members of the County Board of Election Commissioners. The County Board of Election Commissioners may not change a duty delegated to a county employee if that duty is expressly governed by state or federal law. All right, and that one was Senate Bill 557. So basically, it's going to, they're calling it a partisan power grab, is what they're calling this bill. All right, let's go ahead and move to Senate Bill 582. All right, to amend Arkansas law concerning county boards of election commissioners, to amend how county boards of election commissioners take the oath, and to amend Arkansas law concerning elections. And again, this is just going to come back to the state taking over elections out of county's control and away from the county clerk. So you can see it before the clerk. They're removing the clerk from here. They're adding county election commissioners. They have to take their oath before these people. And I'm not really seeing anything else stricken out. All right, let's move on. That's Senate Bill 582. We have Senate Bill 614. All right, to regulate the witnessing of certain documents by a notary public under certain circumstances and to declare an emergency. All right, let's go ahead and click this one. Reduces voter choice on the ballots is what it says here, except provided in. Looking through here. Gosh, they make these things with so much new content. You really have to go through and read it all. But what my notes say on this one is that basically what Senate Bill 14 is doing is, let's see, that should be 614. Okay, here we go. So Senate Bill 614, not 14. And again, it's got a ton of different stuff in here. But this one here reduces voter choice on ballots. Okay, gotcha. So this is to amend Arkansas law concerning paid canvassers. So basically, in 2020, we had three citizen initiatives come through and get the required amount of signatures to be on our ballots. And our Secretary of State, John Thurston, actually pulled the three citizen created initiatives off the ballot and left three initiatives on that were created by state legislators. One of them was to make it harder to get ballot access and make canvassing laws tougher. Well, we voted against it. We voted it down because we don't want to make it harder for citizen initiatives to get on the ballot. Well, now it looks like our state legislators are going to go behind our backs and do it anyways. Some of the things that they're going to change here: a person shall not act as a canvasser unless he or she is a citizen, unless they are a resident of the state. That is a really important one because a lot of times the canvassing companies will have people from out of state come in to collect signatures. Now, they're not signing the petitions. They're just collecting signatures from registered voters. So a canvasser who witnesses a signatures on a petition part, but knowingly allows another canvasser who did not witness all signatures on a petition part to execute a false verification affidavit with respect to a petitioner and commits a Class D felony. So basically, if you fill up half of a sheet and then you give the clipboard to your partner who's collecting with you and they fill out the other half of the sheet, now y'all have committed a felony. Awesome. A sponsor's agent representative commits a Class D felony if they knowingly pay a canvasser for petitioning signatures on a petition part not personally witnessed by that paid canvasser, knowingly submits to the Secretary of State a petition part where the verifying canvasser has not witnessed each signature on that petition part, instructs the paid canvassers to provide the sponsor sufficient information of the paid canvasser's identity to allow the sponsor to obtain the criminal history and criminal record of the paid canvasser within 30 days before the date of the paid canvasser begins collecting signatures. And that was one of the problems we had before, where all these people who collected the signatures, they did their background checks, but it wasn't 30 days before. And I believe it was something like they did state background checks, but not federal background checks. I mean, just loopholes trying to keep these initiatives off of our ballots. Let me see what else is on here real quick. No, past criminal background check. So no longer just passing a criminal background check, but they're going to set disqualifying offenses that they will remove canvassers from being able to collect if they have one of those, whatever they choose for them to be. The sponsor shall bear the ultimate burden of proving that a paid canvasser registered to the sponsor does not have a disqualifying offense. Okay. found guilty of, again, it used to just be a felony, criminal felony offenses or violation of election laws, fraud, forgery, or identification theft. Well, no longer is it just a felony or something like that. It's just a disqualifying offense. So, disqualifying offense: a felony, violation of election law, fraud, forgery, counterfeiting, identifying theft, a crime of violence, including assault, battery, or intimidation, harassment, terroristic threatening. What is terroristic threatening? A social media post, a sex offense, including sexual harassment, a violation of drug or narcotics laws. So if someone has a possession charge, breaking and entering, trespass, destruction of damage or property. This could be something as simple as you went to a protest and property was damaged and you were arrested for it. Vandalisms, arson, crime of theft, including robbery. I mean, all sorts of stuff. It is unlawful for a person to pay or offer to pay a person or receive payment or agree to receive payment on a basis related to the number of signatures obtained on a statewide initiative petition or statewide. Basically, what that means is originally paid canvassers would get paid per signature. They can no longer be paid per signature. This subsection does not prohibit compensation for circulating petitions, but only compensation for obtaining signatures when the compensation or compensation level is impacted by or related to the number of signatures obtained. A signature obtained in violation of the subsection is void, shall not be counted. So they're going to void registered Arkansan voters from having their voices heard just because the person collecting the signature was paid improperly. Do not codify, severability, all provisions of this act, including all sections, subsections, subdivisions. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. The whole purpose of this is trying to make it harder for Arkansans to sign petitions to get initiatives onto our ballots. So this is just absolutely terrible. Who is this? B. Davis. Who are you, B. Davis? Senator Brian Davis, 479-970-0081. Feel free to call her and let her know that you do not believe, whether you support this or you don't. I'm going to be calling her and letting her know that I do not agree with ballot suppression. I think that that's against the First Amendment, and I think she is just destroying our First Amendment rights. Very, very terrible, in my opinion. Let's see. Other primary sponsor is M. Gray. We've got Michelle Gray. Her phone number 870-291-2515. All right. Concerning the Prison Construction Trust Fund, clarify professional relationships regarding cosmetic, aesthetic services. Okay. All right. Enough of these people. That was Senate Bill 614. Sorry that one took so long. Let's kind of go through these real quick. We got Senate Bill 643. So to amend Arkansas law concerning absentee ballots and to amend Arkansas law concerning elections. So we got 643 here that shortens the absentee voting deadline is what this bill is going to do. So you have less time to absentee vote. Let me see. So the Friday, let's see. It was regularly closes on the day before, but now they want the Friday before the day of the election of election day. So it just shortens it basically by the designated bearer administrator. Has to be at the physical office by delivery of the ballot to the physical office of the county clerk of the county of residence of the voter, not later than the time the county clerk's office regularly closes on the Friday before election day by the registered voter, designated bearer administrator of the absentee voter upon proper verification of the signature of the voter by the county clerk and validation of the identity of the registered voter, designated bearer, or administrator. Okay. So they're shortening the amount of time you have to submit your absentee ballots. All right. And that one was Senate Bill 643. Let's go ahead and do Senate Bill 644. Concerning the investigation of violations of election law and to establish an election law violation hotline. Another one by Hammer. Let's see. A person convicted of a misdemeanor offense as listed in the section shall be barred from serving as an election official. Okay, so let me find where these lists of misdemeanors are. So this is just making it so less people can be election officials. I'm looking for the list of misdemeanor offenses here, but it's not jumping out at me. But the point of it is making it harder for someone to become an election official if you have a misdemeanor against you. But still, I'm not seeing a list of misdemeanors, huh? All right. Moving past this one, that's Senate Bill 644, Senate Bill 684. To amend a law concerning political party filing fees and to establish minimum political party filing fees. So already, just so you know, Senate Bill 684, this is an unconstitutional bill. And right now, it was read the first time, suspended state agencies, government affairs. My attorney, James Linger, we've talked about this. He has looked at this. That is his specialty. He's been doing election law and ballot access cases specifically for like 30 years. He's a very intelligent man. He says this is unconstitutional. And if this bill does pass to become law, he will represent the people of Arkansas and sue the Secretary of State to have this bill removed through the unconstitutionality of it. So what this is going to do is this is going to set minimum mandatory filing fees for Republicans and Democrats. The problem with this is the people voting on this bill are Republicans who have higher filing fees than Democrats. So United States Senator, 12,000 minimum. Currently, it's 5,000. United States Representative, 10,000 minimum. Currently, it's 2,000. If a Democrat is running against an unopposed Republican, it is 0. Governor, minimum 12,000. Currently, it's 5,000. Lieutenant Governor, 7,500. Attorney General, 7,500. Secretary of State, 6,000. Commissioner of Land, 6,000. Treasurer of the State, 6,000. And what's interesting about these is the average household income in Arkansas is $40,000 a year. So they want some people to pay upwards of, more than 25% of their income just in a political party filing fee. But like I said, this is unconstitutional. If for whatever reason this does pass, we will sue and we will make sure that this, if it does become a law, that this law is repealed because it is unconstitutional. But it's just something to keep an eye on. This one here, it was submitted by Trent Garner. Trent Garner, here we go, out of El Dorado. His phone number is 870-818-9219. Let him know that, this bill is unconstitutional. And you know what, actually, real quick, let's go ahead. 870-818-9219.
You've reached the voicemail of Trent Garner. Please leave your name and a short message, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hi, Trent Garner. My name is Dan Whitfield, and I am the Democratic candidate running for United States Senate against Senator John Boozman here in Arkansas. And as a constituent of the state of Arkansas, I wanted to call and let you know that the bill you're sponsoring, Senate Bill 684, is unconstitutional. Now, by having the Republicans in majority vote to raise filing fees for their opposing Democratic Party, that is not okay. And I have contacted a constitutional attorney, and if this bill does pass into law, we will sue and we will make sure that this bill is repealed. So I would, as one of your constituents, suggest that you do pull this bill, Senate Bill 684, due to the unconstitutionality of it, and make sure that your constituents understand why you're doing it and how it's unconstitutional. If you have any questions, you can feel free to reach me at 479-618, or I'm sorry, 418-6008, and I would be glad to answer any of your questions. Have a good day, sir. All right. Make sure you do call your representatives and let them know how you feel about the unconstitutional bills that they are sponsoring. All right, so let's go ahead and move past this one here. And again, that's 870-818-9219 is his phone number. All right, so that's Senate Bill 684. Let's go ahead and do House Bill 1112. To amend the law concerning voter identification and to amend the law concerning verifications of provisional ballots and to amend the Amendment 51 of the Arkansas Constitution. So this is now the Act 249, and it eliminates ID verification options. So let's go ahead and click in here, see if how big it is. It looks like they made a whole bunch of changes on here, but what it does is it does eliminate ID verification options. So and that one is House Bill 1112. All right, so let's go ahead and do the next one, House Bill 1715. To amend Arkansas law concerning absentee ballots, to amend election law, to amend the law concerning voting by absentee ballot, and to amend the law concerning spoiled ballots. Let me see how much is in here, if it's a lot or not. Okay, just some. But basically what it does is this is going to also strip powers from county officials and give it to the state. County clerk shall provide the county board of election commissioners with the daily count of absentee applications received to be reported weekly or upon request of the county board of election commissioners. County clerk shall provide the county board of election commissioners with a daily count of absentee ballots received to be reported weekly or upon the county board of election commissioners. And different things like that. The county clerk or other designated election official providing materials to qualified voters shall not distribute unsolicited absentee ballot applications. That means if someone doesn't ask for an absentee ballot application, they can't suggest it or solicit one. County clerk and other designated election officials providing materials to qualified voters may display a printable or downloadable absentee ballot application from the internet, post links to the absentee ballot application form on social media, and make paper copies of absentee ballot application forms available for distribution or to be available upon request by qualified voter. So another interesting bill. There's just so many different voting bills going through. Let's go ahead and move right along to House Bill, actually, we've got SJR5. We're almost done, y'all. And then I got to get ready for my update live stream after this. So, an amendment to the Arkansas Constitution concerning the manner in which primary elections are conducted. So, this is a shell bill to impact primary elections. Let's see. It's fairly short. Okay. So, be it resolved by the Senate of the 93rd General Assembly of the State of Arkansas and by the House of Representatives, a majority of all members elected to each House agreeing thereunto, that the following is proposed as an amendment to the Constitution of the State of Arkansas. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Section 1. The purpose of this joint resolution is to propose an amendment to the Arkansas Constitution concerning the manner in which primary elections are conducted. Wow, that's really, really broad. Of course, this is Senator Rappert, one of the most corrupt senators in our state. But I'm pretty sure they're going to build on to this, and we'll have to keep an eye and see what they do with this. All right. Let's go ahead and do our last one. We got a House Joint Resolution 1005. All right, a constitutional amendment to be known as the Constitutional Amendment and Ballot Initiative Reform Amendment. All right. And this one's kind of important, and there's not too many big changes. So let's go ahead and go through this. The amendment shall be known and may be cited. Okay. Majority. So they got rid of majority and changed majority to approval. By a majority, now instead of 51%, they want it 60%. So they're adding 9% here. And not otherwise and shall not be required to receive a majority. So they had it so that it shall not require a majority, but Majority of the electors voting at the election of the votes cast such measure, and not otherwise, and shall not be required to receive a majority. Okay, so they want the majority, such measures, act measure. However, a measure subjected to referendum shall be repealed if it is rejected by a majority of the electors voting upon the matter. Majority, at least 60%. So it looks like they're redefining a majority as 60% now. At least 60%. Amendment shall be effective on. Okay. So, they're basically what they're doing is they're changing the words majority to approval at 60% is what they're doing, which is going to make it harder to get citizen-led ballot initiatives passed. Wow. So there's a ton of different voting legislation that has been put forward just in these last few weeks. We'll have to wait to see exactly how many of them will be put into law. I know a lot of them, let's see, transmitted to the governor's office. A lot of them are waiting on ASA's signature. But again, it's really tough right now because if ASA does veto any of these bills, they just go right back to being overridden anyways. So the best thing we can do is we can kind of keep an eye and see which bills that they're putting forward are unconstitutional. Make sure if you are an attorney, do what you can to help sue the Secretary of State to help, prevent unconstitutional legislation from staying law if it does become law. That's just our duties as Arkansans right now when we have so much partisan, unconstitutional bills coming forward being signed into law. All right. But whew, oh man, what a legislative recap. I went through a ton of different bills. A lot of it's voting rights. I've just been so busy with projects. Spring's finally here. I was sick for a while, but I'll make sure for our next legislative recap will be Friday at 8 p.m. I should be all set to do that. We will go ahead and talk about more of the legislation going on in our states and hopefully less bad bills and more good bills. As we're approaching the end of the legislative session, it should be interesting to see what happens. I know they're going to take a break and then they're going to come back in the fall and they're talking about having another special session come forward to do tax cuts for the rich. So we'll make sure we're following that as well and keeping up with everything that's going on. But thank you guys so much for taking time out of your evening to, let me go ahead and get rid of that and get rid of this. Taking time out of your evening to join me today and talk about different bills that are going on. Just fixing that stuff real quick. I got it all moved around. And you guys have a wonderful evening. My live stream starts in about 20 minutes. So make sure you catch me for that. I've got some fun updates about where we're going to be going and how we're going to start campaigning, volunteering, getting events, rallies, all sorts of fun stuff going. So you guys have a wonderful night. May God bless y'all. May God bless America. And I'll talk to y'all soon.